الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده يتولى الصالحين وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من بين خلقه وحبيبه الصادق الوعد الأمين الذي بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الله به الغمة وجاهد في سبيل الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين. اللهم لك الحمد حتى ترضى ولك الحمد إذا رضيت ولك الحمد بعد الرضا. اللهم لك الحمد كله ولك الشكر كله وإليك يرجع الأمر كله علانيته وسره، فأهل أنت أن تحمد وأهل أنت أن تعبد وأنت على كل شيء قدير، فيا نعم المولى ويا نعم النصير، غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وحبيبه. اللهم ارض عن صحابته الكرام وعن أزواجه الأطهار وعن التابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين، أما بعد. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم إن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم، يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وتضع كل ذات حمل حملها وترى الناس سكارى وما هم بسكارى ولكن عذاب الله شديد. يقول المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم، يقول انصر أخاك ظالما أو مظلوما. وفي حديث آخر المسلمون تتكافأ دماؤهم. وفي ثالث أحرج حق الضعيفين، وهذا حديث ردده 3 مرات. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, support and be in the aid of your brother, whether he's oppressed or the oppressor. They said, Ya Rasulullah, we know if he's oppressed. What about when he is the one who's doing the oppression? You said you guide him to the right path until he's off of it, and that's how you support him, and that's how you aid him. وَالْمُسْلِمُونَ تَتَكَافَأُ دِمَاؤُهُم, that all the bloods of all Muslims are equivalent. Every Muslim is just like his fellow Muslim. No difference. And we also know the hadith where he said that there's no difference between an Arab and a non-Arab, and a yellow and a red, and a black over white, rich over poor, unless piety is the measure. That's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at us. He measures us by how much piety and taqwa each one of us has, not how much you have in your wallet or how much you have in your bank account. And in the other hadith where he said, أُحَرِّجُ حَقَّ الضَّعِيفَيْنِ, that the rights of the weak people is critical. And he repeated this hadith 3 times. And what he meant by the weak, the orphan, or the miskeen, and the widow. And he said that whoever maintains these 2 categories of people is like the one who is making siyam non-stop. And what I mean non-stop is non-stop, all his life. Or the one who makes qiyam all night, non-stop, every night of his life. That is the word for those who maintain the weak and the orphan and the widow. On the other hand, he says, مَا مِن مُسْلِمٍ يَخْذُلُ مُسْلِمًا يُنْتَقَصُ فِيهِ مِنْ عِرْضِهِ إِلَّا خَذَلَهُ اللَّهُ فِي مَوْطِنٍ يُحِبُّ فِيهِ نُصْرَتَهُ. That every time that your fellow Muslim is in hope for you to be in his aid and crying for help, and you have the opportunity and you have the means and you have the chance to be there for him, and you don't, and you just stand there and do nothing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will let you down at the time that you need him the most. And how many people are in need right now for help and crying for help all throughout the world? And a lot of us, for those who are able to do something about it, just stand there and do nothing. مَنْ كَانَ فِي حَاجَةِ أَخِيهِ كَانَ اللَّهُ فِي حَاجَتِهِ. Those who strive and go out to be out there for their fellow Muslims, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be there for them. The Prophet ﷺ, every time that he met a group of people, new Muslims, new faces, he would say, قَدِّمُوا لِي ضُعَفَاءَكُمْ أو أَبْغُونِي ضُعَفَاءَكُمْ. Bring the weak from the back. The ones who are standing in the back, that a lot of people consider to be the lowest of level, he would say, bring them up to the front. Because nobody is superior over anybody unless with the taqwa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he ordered us to support and aid the ones who are oppressed throughout the Quran Kareem. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the glad tidings to those who are oppressed and those who are facing transgression. We're saying, وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ اللَّهَ غَافِلًا عَمَّا يَعْمَلِ الظَّالِمُونَ. Don't think for once that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unaware of what's going on with you. He's leaving that to happen. He's leaving the oppressor to do whatever he's doing, maybe for 2 reasons. Either one, to give up and stop what he's doing, or the other is to gain as much sayyat and as much bad scale that he has at the end of time, so his punishment is severe. We all know the story about the woman who was imprisoned with a room. I believe it was King Louis. When she screamed, "Wa mu'tasima," it's a story that we all know, but just to repeat it, state the obvious. She made a scream, a cry out for al-mu'tasim billah. She said, "Wa mu'tasima." And he got the message that there's a woman in prison that called out for his name. But nobody would do anything about it. He wrote a letter to that king. Very short, simple, to the point. And he said, "Min al-mu'tasim billah Amir al-Mu'mineen ila Luis," whatever his name was, "Kalb al-Rum," not Malik al-Rum. Look at the courage and the pride that the Muslims had back then. He said, "Ila Kalb al-Rum. Either you release this woman, or I will send you an army that the front line is at your doorsteps and the back line is at mine." So what did he do? He released her and sent a big caravan of women, because he knew how women in Islam are valued. Sent her in a caravan with women with a letter of apology. And he said, "To your servant, Luis Sadis Ashar, Our ummah, we are people just like the rest. The Muslim ummah is just like everybody else. Any Muslim country. We go through hoops, we go up, we come down. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يرفع أقواما ويضع آخرين. He brings people up and He brings some down. But for us to be up, that is something that we can maintain as long as we maintain and hold on to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the sunnah of the Prophet. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik alayhi. But the situation of the ummah today is a very clear evidence that we are just around the corner from the end of time. Or maybe shorter than that, a shorter distance. The Prophet ﷺ says, يوشك أن تتداعى عليكم الأمم كما تتداعى الأكلة على قصعتها إلى قصعتها. Meaning that at the end of time, it's going to be almost to the point where all the nations will be trying to get a piece of you, the very last piece of you, every last piece of you, the ummah. Just like if you put a group of hungry men around a piece of pie or a tray of food, and they're fighting to get the very last piece. This is how the situation of the Muslim ummah nowadays. Can somebody prove it wrong? They asked the Prophet ﷺ, why, Ya Rasulullah? Is this because we're few? Because we're outnumbered? He said, no, it's plenty of you. This country is 5 million, this country is 6 million Muslims, this country is 10 million, this country is 99% Muslims, and so on. وَلَكِنَّكُمْ كَغُثَاءِ السَّيْلِ. And you're just like the debris that the water washes out to the shore. Now when was ever the history of Muslims, when were they ever like that? When were we ever like that? Which brings me to the topic for today. The kingdom of Arakan. A lot of us might have heard of it. Maybe somebody will say, where is it? I'm going to tell you. Southeast Asia. It borders the line with Bورما, which is now known as Myanmar. From the north you have Bangladesh, and from the east you have Bورما, and from the south you also have Bورما. From the west you have the ocean. Islam entered this country in the year 172 Hijri, at the time of Al-Khalifa Harun al-Rashid, rahimahullah. And Islam remained in this country as strong as it could be for many centuries. They built masajid, and they taught the Quran, they learned the Quran, and Islam even spread to the surrounding countries. Their main currency had La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, and on the bottom it said Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali. Where do we see that nowadays? And Islam spread all the way until it entered the country of Bórma. And the country of Bórma, as we know, is full of Buddhists, worshippers of statues. They design them, mark them with gold and silver and all sorts of diamonds, and they worship them as a god. And they hated the Muslims, and they attacked them. And the animosity and the hatred towards them was very strong. They were outnumbered, the Muslims were, by millions. To the point where the Buddhists, they occupied Arakan. And they joined it. It became one country with Bórma. They changed the name to Myanmar. Not only that, but in 1784, the Muslims in that country became almost 15% of 50 million. What's that, about 5 to 7 million people. So they started, even though that was not a small number, if you want to figuratively speak, it's not a small number, so they started building the masajid, and they started living there, and they established their villages. But they were fought by the Buddhists, and they were killed, and they were tortured, and they were burnt. Their houses were burnt while they were inside them. They killed, the first time they killed about 50,000 people. And after there's a truce, Hudna, they killed 60,000 more. And then after that, they expelled about 500, 500,000 people, expelled them outside the country, to Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, and whatsoever. They prohibited them from building masajid. They confiscated their identities. And they put taxes on them. For everything and anything you can think of. Even for getting married, they had to pay taxes. They prohibited them from learning, from going to school past elementary education. And the reason for that is if they wanted to, because they were enslaved, the reason they wanted to be able to read a little bit, just in case they had to go run some errands for them, they know where to go. That was it. But they couldn't be doctors, they couldn't be lawyers, they couldn't be anything. Nothing past elementary education. They enslaved them. No food, no salary, nothing like that. You have to provide your own to come and be a slave. And the reason, and then after that, they weren't satisfied with just that. They prohibited them from getting married. Reason? They wanted them to commit zina. And they wanted them to have bastard children. And they wanted the identity of Islam to be wiped away. Another thing, that wasn't just it. But when one of the countries in the Middle East sent a caravan or a few da'iyah, to over there to spread Islam and to teach them about it and to support them, they were hijacked. And they were killed and they were stabbed to death, every one of them. They pulled out their tongues and they cut them off, and then they killed them. But did that ever make the news? No. Did that ever make headlines? They're just Muslims. I mean, who are they? And that happened just recently in 2012, by the way. Not only that, at that time also they burnt about 2,600 houses. 90,000 people were also kicked out of the country. And the number keeps going up. You don't believe it? Look up on YouTube. Just put Muslims being burnt to death in Bورما. You'll see it. Plenty of videos. Now the question is, if that bus that I just mentioned, if that was full of priests or pastors from here, let's say from America, or from any other country, what would happen? We wouldn't hear the end of it. Just like the Coptics that were killed in Libya by the so-called terrorist state, when they were killed, we didn't hear the end of it. And they accused Islam of being that. But we all know that that's not true. We all know that Islam has nothing to do with that. وَلِلَّهِ ذَرُ الْقَائِلِ, as the poet said, هذه أراكان نار البغي تحرقها أما لها نجدة من غيث عدنان يا ليت معتصما بالله تبلغه هذه النداءات من أم وفتيان ما بال قوم قد سدوا مسامعهم وأغمضوا العين عن نجدة إخواني ما بالهم فقدوا ميراث نخوتهم فاستعذبوا العيش في ذل وطغيان أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم ادعوا الله وأنتم موقنون بالإجابة. الحمد لله وكفى وصلى الله على نبيه المصطفى وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. الله سبحانه وتعالى أنعم علينا أننا أبناء هذا البلد, the land of the free. And this is a bounty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted every one of us to be living here. A lot of us are natives, a lot of us are immigrants, and a lot of us have families back home. We live back home, we live wherever back home is, and then we come here. And you see the difference in the freedom. You see the difference in the freedom of religion and the freedom of expressing yourself. Something that a lot of countries, wherever they are, without mentioning any, we all know stories. You go pray Fajr, next thing you know you're locked up. You do that continuously, you will probably won't see the sun again. You have no rights. You cannot even express your feelings. Nothing you can do like you do here in this great country. Opportunities are there. Just, you don't even have to look. They're all around us to be whatever you want. No limit on you being a doctor, being a professor, and we have a lot of them here. We have physicians, ER doctors, business people, name it, every walks of life, we're all here. And did anybody at any time come to you and say, you're not allowed to be a doctor, or you're not allowed to be a lawyer, or you're not allowed to be this or that? No. Because this doesn't happen here. And then, you come in, the masajid are being built everywhere. The community here, the DFW area, started with one masjid. And now we have over 100 between masjid and musalla. And for those who are been here for many years, you exactly know the development of it and how it happened. You come to the masjid at any time you want, and you leave at any time you want. Nobody tells you anything. You have that freedom. Now, there's a problem though with that. I mean, yes, you have the freedom, we have all that stuff, but there's one problem, or some. Just because we have the freedom, you also have the freedom of those people that try to go out there and they try to mess it up for everybody else. Okay? Yeah, the masjid is being built, and the people are populating it, and more people showing up, and more communities move into the area. But you have some people that their agenda is different. They wanna, and I'm not talking about specific, I'm talking all over. For those who lived in other states, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You can relate to it. You have some people that their agenda is to spread rumors, and you have people that their agenda is to cause problems with the community. And you have, if I have a problem with you, I just go and notify the local authorities, this guy's doing this and that. And next thing you know, he's under investigation. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about this category of people, وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنْ مَنَعَ مَسَاجِدَ اللَّهَ أَنْ يُذْكَرَ فِيهَا اسْمُهُ وَسَعَى فِي خَرَابِهَا. Those who go out there and do everything they can to cause problems and cause mischief. And there's also, you have the people with the mentality of what we call the aqliyya raj'iyya, the mentality of, some people refer to it as the back home mentality. And they say, I don't want anything to do with it. Okay, I would just want to go pray and go home. I don't want to attend any lectures. The imam or the khatib, he's talking about certain things. I don't want to be involved with that. And then they hear every rumor that goes on and they go ahead and spread it. And next thing you know, they boycott the masjid and they have nothing to do with it anymore. And you have also the people that don't even show up to the masjid. And I'm going to give an example of a story that I heard recently. One of the masajid in the area, in the DFW area, they have some activities with the children. And one child came to the imam, or he came to the board, and he said, well, what is this thing about hijab? And he was explaining that it's fard from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's mandatory, obligatory by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as stated in the Quran. So who got pissed off because of that? Who got mad? The mother. And she came complaining to the administration about that. And said, why are you telling my son that the hijab is fard? The person who answered her said, because it is. Simple. He said, well, I told him it's a choice. So what kind of message are we sending out to our kids? Or is it just we treat the masjid as a daycare? Just go throw your kids in there on the weekend and let me go do my shopping and whatnot. And while they're over there, they'll learn something or two. The Muslims, the new Muslims, as we all see, and a lot of us here, as we have some new Muslims here, or converts or reverts, whatever you call them, they're more attached to Islam than the people who were born into it. Why is that? And the ones who are natively Muslims, they try to remove the identity of Islam from them. Oh, my name is not so Abdullah, my name is something else. Mentioned this before. Any chance they get, they will make negative comments. Okay? They will make negative comments about anything. Any chance they get, they will talk bad about the masjid, they will talk bad about the administration, they will talk bad about, and I've seen it in so many masajid throughout the country and even overseas. My advice, and I conclude with this, is that you hold on to your masjid. Because after us generation here, who's born into it, a lot of us are, and who grew up in different countries where Islam is strong, after we depart, who's going to take care of the place after we do, after we're gone? Who's going to maintain the Islam? Who's going to maintain the message of La ilaha illallah after we're gone? If our kids are not able to be leaving school to come to Jum'ah for this, and if we're not teaching our kids how to make adhan and how to make qiyam and how to do this and all the things that we're doing right now, then who's going to teach them? You can't depend on the school that he goes to for a couple of hours a week and say, okay, my son, he memorizes Surah Al-Fil, he's good. It's not enough. Support your masjid. And I'm not here making a fundraiser, but I'm just trying to state something that's obvious. Support your masjid, because it's built for you and me and our kids, our wives, our mothers, all of us. Be a role model to your kids. And with this, I take this to heart to myself, and I try to apply it to myself as much as I can, and I urge all of you to do the same. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم يا ربنا عليك بمن ظلم المسلمين، اللهم عليك بمن تجبر عليهم، اللهم عليك بمن بطش بهم، اللهم أرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل تجعلهم كعصف مأكول. اللهم انصر المسلمين في بورما واراكان وفي كل مكان وكل بلد يذكر فيه اسمك يا رب العالمين. اللهم ارفع راية الدين خفاقة عالية، اللهم ارفع راية الدين خفاقة عالية. اللهم من أراد بهذا المسجد بسوء وأهله بسوء فخذه أخذ عزيز مقتدر. اللهم من أراد هذا المسجد بسوء فخذه أخذ عزيز مقتدر واجعل كيده في نحره. اللهم من أراد هذا المسجد بخير فاكتب له الأجر واجعله من أهل الخير وإيانا يا رب العالمين. اللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولمن له حق علينا، اغفر لنا ولمن سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعلنا ذلا للذين آمنوا. اللهم يا رب العالمين آخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة.